guys, today I'm here with a chit chat. Get ready with me. We're going to be using some new launches, some holiday launches. There's a couple products in here you've seen me use 100 times over. Basically, I just want to put some makeup on my face and chat with you. And I'm very excited that this video is sponsored by and in partnership with Makeup Forever. I'm so excited to be working with them. They're a brand that I've loved forever. My first purchase from them was like this purple blush, like a lavender purple blush. I still have it in my collection. It's never going anywhere. This year, I mean, I have not stopped raving about the Matte Velvet Skin foundation. So I'm so excited to show you their brand new concealer. It is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Light Capturing Self-Setting Concealer. Comes in 22 gorgeous shades. It has medium buildable coverage with a natural finish. You know how much I love me a natural finish nowadays. So I'm going to be showing you how I use this to conceal, to cover my darkness that I have under my eyes, along with brighten my face and contour. But first, let's get into my base. To prime my skin today, I'm going to be using the Farsali Skin Tune Blur Primer. I mentioned this in a recent haul video, and I have been using this pretty consistently since I got it, and I have been liking it. I will say, however, I feel like the formula might be a little too thick to be in this type of packaging. But that being said, I feel like it does smooth the skin and it doesn't clump up on my face. It's not like a hard to work with primer, because I find some primers can make your life more difficult or more easy. So I feel like this one has done a good job smoothing the skin. For foundation, I'm going to be using the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation, and I reviewed this a while back. I didn't have my appropriate shade at the time, but I do now. It is Caramel, which is a great match for me. The one I used before I think was Beige, and that one was too yellow. This is a much better shade match for me. If you're wondering for an update, I think I did update you in another video, but in case you missed it and you're wondering what your shade should be, and you're close to me, probably Caramel would be a good match. So I like to cream contour before I go in with my highlighting and my concealing. I don't know if you're the same way, but I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer to do that. I'm wearing the shade 52, so it's kind of like a contour slash bronzing shade. I find it looks quite warm when I first apply it to my skin, and then when I blend it out, it adds a little bit of warmth, but it also adds a nice bit of depth as well. And in Makeup Forever foundations, if you're trying to match yourself, I'm generally a Y415, or more recently I've been using Y425 because I do have a little bit more color. So like I said, this concealer has a medium buildable coverage with a natural finish, and that's why I like it for cream or kind of like contouring, because not all concealers can contour, in my opinion, because some just dry too fast, or they're too full coverage, or they don't look natural on the skin. Because I can tend to go quite heavy under my eyes with concealer, but when you're putting on a foundation and a concealer and powder and stuff, you don't want to add on too many thick layers. So I try to be careful when it comes to what I cream contour with. So I really like this. As you can see, it blends out super easy. You can use, I've used both a brush and a sponge to blend it out as my kind of contour bronzer. I find it looks so natural, and I've talked about this before, but cream contouring can look so natural. A lot of people are very scared to do it, I feel like, because you're drawing like brown bronzy lines on your face, so it can look very intimidating. But if you're using the right product, you're blending it out, go in with light layers, it can really add a nice amount of definition to the face. I think you can see that, and then it can also just really warm up the face, help a foundation to match you, add dimension. So I really like this concealer for that, because I think it looks super natural. If you blend it out, obviously it doesn't have those harsh lines. And in the formula, it has amino acid coated pigments, so these are going to help it to be more budge proof, to stick around on your face. And if you have an oilier skin type and have problems with your bronzer fading or your contour fading, I feel like adding in this extra step will really help things stick around on your face. For my under eyes, I'm going to be using the shade 34, and I'm just going to dab a little bit under my eyes. It has a really nice kind of flat paddle style brush or applicator. It's not a brush, it's an applicator. I'm gonna put that under my eyes, and as you know, I always like to let my concealer set a little bit under my eyes. It's super easy, just kind of like, they call it the dab, dab, and go. So you just dab it under your eyes and go. They recommend using a brush, sponge, or finger. You know, I'm gonna be using my finger. That's my favorite concealer application. And then I'm gonna use a little 32 just to highlight the center of my face slightly. Just a touch, because this one is quite light. I've used 34 to highlight my face too. And if you're looking to get this concealer for yourself, it is going to be online this month and then in store in January. Retails for 35 Canadian, and like I said, it comes in 22 shades, which is awesome. Really, really good range from fair to very deep, which I always appreciate. So I'm just going to dab it out and pat it out under my eyes. Like I said, I always love my finger for this like initial step of concealer anyways. But I find this does a really good job brightening the under eyes. The undertone of this one is, it has like a little slight bit of peachiness in there, which I feel like really helps my darkness. I don't have super intense dark under eyes, but there is a little bit of darkness there, so it helps to brighten but also conceal. It looks really smooth under the eyes as well, and it is self-setting, so I have tried using it without a powder. It kind of just depends on the day, on the look, what I'm going for. I generally do set my concealer with powder, and I like to set this one as well, but you can get away without setting it depending on your skin type or the look you're going for, you're trying to achieve, because it is made to be self-setting and to be budge-proof and stick around either way, and obviously great for film and TV too, because that's what Makeup Forever does so well. But I like that not only is it good for film and TV, but it's also good for like me, although I mean I am filming, but in my everyday life. So as you can see, it blends out super, super easily. I feel like this is a really good color match for me. I've worn Y33 in one of their other concealers before, and that was a good match too, but I feel like this is even better because sometimes I can go like a smidge too light under the eyes in the hopes of brightening my face up and adding definition. So I really like this shade match here. In typical me fashion, I was about to set my face without putting on my cream highlight. How many times have I done that? I want to go for kind of a pink look today. I couldn't decide on what I wanted. I wanted to do a yellow eye, and I also wanted to do a pink highlighter. So I'm using the Balm Cindy Duminizer. So this is a pinkish liquid highlighter. And I mentioned this before, but I really like this highlighter, but just blend it out as soon as you put it on your face. Then I'm going to set my face with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder. I've really been liking this powder and another Charlotte Tilbury powder lately to set my face. And then I'm also going to use the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, which is another really lightweight one. I kind of want to try this in a lighter shade under my eyes, honestly. Okay, so now we're up close and personal to do some eyeshadow, and you can see a good view of my under eyes here too. I think they look super smooth. They look bright but not cakey or overdone. The finish is still natural, and on my forehead too you can see, I think, where I contoured, and it looks very good in my opinion. So to start off my eye look, I'm going to be using this new palette from Physicians Formula. I do have a video coming, if it's not already up, on some of their new launches. So this is their Butter Eyeshadow Palette. They have 2 of these coming out, so I'm going to take this first first brown here, and I'm just going to pop that in the crease and on the outer corner. I don't want to use a ton of brown, but I do want to set down a little base because I want to use some pinks like I said. But let me know how your holiday season has been. Hopefully a good one. But the holidays can be tough for so many reasons, so just know that if you are having a rough holiday season, you're not the only one. It's a hard time of year, and you know, things like watching YouTube or just taking some time for yourself can be great. I know I do that too. This is my first Christmas in Toronto, so that's interesting. Nems and I got our first little tree and he is Serbian, and their Christmas is just, it's a much different than like a North American or more traditional, what I know to be Christmas. So there's lots of things that I'm teaching him and things that he's teaching me too. So we're gonna try and meld our Christmases. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade here. And I also know that, you know, everyone talks about, oh, holiday break and blah, blah, blah. But for most of my life anyways, I was always working retail or working in restaurants. So the holidays were like the busiest time for me, which was good and bad because, you know, if you're working, you're making money, so that's awesome. Staying out of trouble. But it can be hard too because not only is it a busy time of year, but the retail scene, like, you know, be nice to retail people who work in stores, like, they're people. Gonna take some of this hot pink from ColourPop because YOLO. I remember working like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day at a restaurant when I worked there. I remember working this like crazy 12-hour shift when I worked at like a clothing store, and I got one 15-minute break in 12 hours. And the night before we had worked really, really late getting the store ready, because it was like called Midnight Madness. It happens like at the mall in St. John's where I'm from. Probably happens like everywhere, but the night before everybody was coming into the mall and like stashing their products away in the shelves to come in and like grab it the next day really quickly, not realizing that like we would have to we had to go through and like clean up the entire store because everyone had like stashed things away. It was madness. And I remember, I think I worked till midnight. Yeah, I think I worked till midnight, which is very late. Like the mall closes at 10. I worked till midnight, and then I had to go in the next day and work from 8 to 8. And when I left the mall that night, I remember my grandmother came and picked me up because I was only 16. Wasn't even driving at this point. Anyways, this is going very off the rails. So I'm just gonna put it all over my lid, but like not full on, you know? So this is gonna be my facial highlighter, but I'm gonna take a little bit and put it on my eyes as well. And I'd say if I wet it, it would be even more intense. Like I don't have any, like, I put an eyeshadow primer on, but there's eyeshadow on top of it now. I'm gonna pop it in the inner corner too. And I want to try popping some of this on my lid too. They're the Cover FX glitter drops in the shade Aurora. So I just put like a drop of it out on my hand, and now I'm gonna dot it on my lid. I've never tried these before. Oh, it's very pretty, but I swatched it and I was so surprised to see that it wasn't chunky and it didn't seem like it was gonna be too hard to work with. Because there's some products that like, you're like, oh, that's really nice and all. You need to like solve a puzzle to make it work. And not the case with this. It's like a much more subtle, but still very glowy and almost glossy and wet looking. Just don't get it on your under eyes like I did. I'm using a spoolie to wipe it away. But this is a good test for the Makeup Forever concealer. It's not moving. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop on my most recent combo that I've talked about a million times, the L'Oreal Lash Paradise primer and also the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. Actually, I think I'm gonna put on a black liner too, and I will be right back. Okay, so the eye look is finished. I did pop on this as well. It's the new Maybelline Snap Mascara, and it's a mascara, but it's in the shade Black Cherry. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's kind of like this dark purpley burgundy, so I thought it might go kind of good with the look. For my bronzer, I know I always do this in a weird order, but I'm using the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion. I thought it was an appropriate time to break this out. I actually hit pan on this, which is crazy. Well, I mean, it's not crazy. I used it straight for probably a year. For a long time when I first started wearing makeup, I just had a hard time finding a bronzer that matched my skin tone or was suitable for my skin tone. Because I think I've said before, when I was younger, like high school, when I would go to my friends' houses, I would use their bronzers as like a face powder to like blot my oily face. When I came across this one, I was so happy. It was so, it's a great shade, but also it's just like you can't overdo it. For blush, I'm going to be using a new shade of the Physicians Formula blushes. This one is in the shade Copacabana. I might actually reach for their more pink one as well. I haven't tried this on my cheeks yet, but I think it's going to be a good match for this. Look is kind of purpley pink. It's kind of Black Cherry actually, which is one of my favorite flavors of things. For highlight, I'm going to be using the Mood Lights Face Illuminating Trio from Laura Mercier, and I'm using the shade Flirtation, the pink. It doesn't look pink in the pan, but it has a very strong pink reflect, as you saw when I put it on my eyes. But it has enough depth I brought it up around my brow bone as well, but I don't love doing a pink highlighter on my nose necessarily, so I'm gonna try this out. Also from Laura Mercier, it is their highlight, the Matte Baked Radiance highlight, and oh, it's very powdery. A lot of people love this, and I love a more natural highlighter lately. It might be a little light for my skin tone, but I think it's pretty. I'm gonna need to play around with it on the cheeks. Speaking of glow, I wanted to use this. I've heard such good things about it. This is the Catrice Prime and Fine Illuminating Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. I believe that this is the one everyone raves about. Let's test the spritz, okay? Okay, I think I went a little too hard with that. Just taking my powder brush, and I do this with lots of setting sprays sometimes if they make you too shiny, is I don't have any powder on my brush. I'm just kind of going over, but don't do this as when your face is really wet because you'll mess up your whole face. Wait for it to like calm down a little bit. I'm a little stuck on what lip to wear. As you can see, I've tried on 2 lipsticks and turned around. I'm gonna use this Kiss lipstick in the shade Cocoa Butter. Really nice matte. I could wear this on its own, but I really want to add something on top. Jazz it up. I love the shade on its own, but I really like adding glosses that have like a little bit of color in them over more nude lipsticks. So I'm gonna try this one. I've tried a couple now and I just can't get to the color that I want. This is an Essence gloss. Sorry if you can hear Rue eating in the background. Just want a little more pink. How many lip products can I pile on? So here is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed getting ready with me. Be sure to check out the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer. As I mentioned, it is launching this month online in stores in January. Retails for $35, comes in 22 amazing shades, and I think, as you can see, it does a great job covering up dark circles, smoothing, brightening, and then you can also use it to highlight and contour. So of course, I will have it linked down below, and like I said, it will be showing up soon if you haven't seen it already. So be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!